Today we're going to be exploring the disturbing lore of another locale. Kelly White, better known online as AuressCosplays or Reborn Cosplay Mom of Many, is a cosplayer who has a long, deeply troubling history. She has a family of 8 dolls which she treats as her own children. Auress began her journey posting standard cosplay content, but over time she began doing inappropriate things with underage characters, as well as performing and sharing lewd content. She's also publicly admitted to having an incestuous relationship with her father, and over the past decade her story has taken numerous dark turns, including inappropriate interactions with minors and openly admitting to p-word tendencies. Today we're going to break down the patterns of Kelly's online presence, the shocking behaviors she has shared online, and why so many people have found her content deeply alarming. And before we go any further, I think it's important to acknowledge that Kelly has publicly stated that she is autistic, and some of the behaviors that she presents does align with this, but it does not excuse a long-term repeated pattern of harmful behavior. Auress has a TikTok account with 36,000 followers. Bio reads reborn mom / longtime cosplayer. And mostly she posts videos cosplaying different characters, mainly characters from Has Been Hotel, The Legend of Zelda, Steven Universe, and My Hero Academia. She also has another TikTok account by the name Soft Girl Unicorn. Bio here reads positive cosplay, duets only, gender fluid, she/he. We'll address some of that a little bit more in detail later, especially given that she has positioned herself as a conservative cosplayer. Her Twitter history also contains a large amount of deeply troubling content, which we'll break down later in the video, but she has openly racist tweets towards black people and Mexicans. The earliest content I was able to find comes from her DeviantArt account, where she began posting as far back as 2011. It's a character from Twilight Princess known as Medna. This is when she started sharing her journey of entering the cosplay world on Deviant. And if you're familiar with DeviantArt, then you know that it's a popular social network for artists. It's a place where they can share their portfolios and just kind of get their name out there. You can post digital art, traditional art, photos, videos, animations, get feedback, and even build your own creative community. But what if I told you that it had a darker side? In fact, a lot of people use it for its edgy content and stuff that makes you want to go clean your eyes out with bleach. And that's exactly the route that Kelly's art took. She began posting lewd content cosplaying as different characters and minors. DeviantArt is a way to browse porn at work and leave a misleading trace that you were looking at art, is what one user would say, but I'm sure a lot of you out there aren't doing that, right? There's some actual people out there that actually use it for promoting their stuff, or just sharing their art, I hope. We're not all degenerates, are we? According to her bio, she was born October 21st, 1996, which would make her 29 years old at the posting of this video. One striking detail that appears in her bio where she lists her dislikes as people who are bees to little kids, I'll kick those bees' butts. We'll come back to that later because it rings hollow coming from someone who has publicly admitted to sending explicit images to minors. She lives in Long Island, New York with her parents alongside her family and 8 reborn dolls.
Day in the life of taking care of my reborns, part 3. So it is 12 o'clock, which means it is lunchtime, and I am making them cucumber sandwiches and tomato soup. And because I know I'm going to get comments about I'm wasting food or something like that, here I am putting the food in the refrigerator and saving it for when I'm not going over my calories. After lunch, the reborns just play, and while that's going on, I'm showing Ashley and Jen Tangled. Ashley still hasn't seen Tangled before. Everyone else watched it already.
This is straight out of a horror movie. There's no way I could live in a house like that with dolls watching TV. Imagine you're the person coming over to fix something at the house and you come in and you see the dolls just sitting on the couch watching TV. But to Kelly, these dolls are very real. She treats and talks to them just like children.
Oh, look at that. You're done with Sesame Street already. How about you go outside for a little while? In case anyone's wondering what the mess is, I was sewing yesterday and I posted a video about it.
I made it. I made it. I made it. I'm crafty.
Mommy! Mommy! Help me down the slide! I wanna go!
Okay, I'm coming. And 1, 2, 3. Yay, Jen! You landed so good!
The prince noticed that the dwarves were already cooking delicious food.
Hey, Emily. You're reading to Ashley. Okay, girls, I made you peanut butter and jelly sandwiches for lunch. Here you go, Emily.
All I can think about is if I was her neighbor and I happened to look over that fence and see that, I would be so... Actually, I don't know what I would be. I would probably just be like, well, that was something new. This is the age we live in. We're able to look into somebody's life that is just doing something completely outside of my reality. It's hard to fathom something like this, but also it makes me feel very curious and as to why this is happening, and deeply, deeply disturbed. But she seems to have absolute no fear of any kind of social rejection or people judging her or their opinions of her at all, because she takes these dolls with her to restaurants and cosplay events. She also breastfed her dolls. Don't ask, I don't know how that works. But now shifted to bottled milk that she makes from water and flour. That's not milk, right? How's that milk?
I was breastfeeding them, but then Anthony came along and I couldn't breastfeed anymore because I only have 2 parts of my body that can produce milk if I could have a baby. So ever since I got Anthony here, I've been making bottles for them, and no, not real baby formula, too expensive. I am making them fake formula that I simply use flour and water to make the formula with some turmeric to make it the right color, so it looks like real baby formula, real baby milk.
Oh, okay, she's just making fake milk. Okay, I get it. Originally, she wanted to use the dolls as props, but began to feel attached. And she actually went viral in 2024 for posting her dolls. Her most popular videos are those featuring her dolls, which led her to be featured in the New York Post. She's doing the best she can. They really just did that. Kelly Cunningham, which I think is their actual last name, but on social media, she's also went by Kelly White on her Instagram and her YouTube. Kelly Cunningham has always wanted to be a mother, but without a baby of her own, the New York native is breastfeeding her dolls. The Ronkonkoma resident, and I don't know if I said that right, bought a reborn doll for her 27th birthday and says she quickly felt her maternal instincts kick in. She would say that, "I just couldn't help but want to care for Jennifer like a real child." Cunningham, now 29, told Caters of her beloved lifelike doll. "I can't explain how it happened, but I suddenly got so attached to her and spent that week buying her clothes and eventually her own bed that sits next to the end of my bed in my room." Okay, so according to that article, she was just lonely, wanted kids, and she got attached. Probably not a healthy attachment, but what are you going to do when you're lonely, I guess? I mean, maybe read a book or go find somebody, go outside and talk to people. I don't know. In another article of NYP, she says she spent $2,000 buying them. And in case you're wondering where's the parents and all this, because, well, she does live with her parents, her father appears to be quite supportive of her. She says, "My dad explained to me it was normal to have that desire to be a parent now that I'm in my late 20s. So I didn't really question why I loved these dolls so much like real children." And it also looks like her grandpa is supportive too, with her fishing with them. You gotta love seeing some wholesome family bonding. She's bought a ton for these dolls. She's bought clothes, accessories. On top of that, she's a cosplayer, so she's buying outfits and props. All of that adds up over time.
Live in Long Island because it's super expensive. Why don't you try getting a house there and see how expensive it is? You don't know my situation. I mean, you think I want to live with my parents like a child? No, I want my own house. I want to move to another state just to get my own house. You don't know my circumstances. Please leave me alone. Please stop calling me a child. I'm really getting sick and tired of people calling me a baby. If I'm such a baby, then how come I'm not using my parents' money anymore? How come I'm trying to save money for a house?
But her dad isn't just supporting her, he's a major part of her online presence. They often cosplay together, acting out characters, sometimes even romantic scenarios. In fact, many of her earliest TikToks feature just her father. They would often do duets with teenage kids, and some of the videos that they would post would be odd and inappropriate dialogues.
It's time to face facts. Students are no longer safe at UA. All Might, you're just too dummy thick, and the sound of your ass cheeks clapping is alerting the League of Villains. Statistically, there's just no way for us to protect all the students from your thickness.
Which I get it. It's a reference to My Hero Academia, but a weird thing to be posting with your dad, in my opinion.
It says, I secretly want to sleep with the radio demon. I think he's so hot. Yeah, get in line, sweetie. Everyone wants to sleep with Al. You ain't special. Case in point, raise your hand if you wouldn't be opposed to sleeping with Alistair.
Me!
What? Husker?
What? Get a few stiff drinks in me and I'd toss that ass like a salad.
You'd what? My what? Like a what?
Bags, put your hand up. You're lying.
I'm a lesbian, you idiot.
Huh? What?
Ugh, this is stupid.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
You all are miserable perverts!
Don't worry, Al. None of us would actually try anything. You're just, nice to look at is all.
Do you suppose I should thank you for refraining from assaulting me? Disgusting! Obey the 5-foot rule, please.
Now, feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think a father should be acting out these type of imaginary scenarios or reenacting something from a show, considering the context. It's weird behavior.
I stole your underwear, Husky.
You motherfucker! Wait, I don't have any underwear.
True. They're Alice. Husky, help!
I love whatever this is. He also goes to cons with her. We're at the cosplay convention KatsuCon 2022. Kelly cosplayed as Jinx alongside her father as Silco, characters from the show Arcane. She would post videos on TikTok with her father that are deeply troubling as they show her being physically close and displaying peculiar romantic affection towards him.
In love with your brother-in-law.
You're in love with your own brother? The one in the army?
No, your sister's husband.
Michael.
No, that's your sister's brother.
No, I'm my sister's brother. You're in love with me.
I'm in love with Tobias.
And what I'm about to reveal next is deeply disturbing. Kelly's father posted on Instagram about cosplay plans for My Hero Academia and The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess. And I'd say in cosplay communities, it's pretty normal to imagine cosplay scenarios, but I feel like this one crosses the line. The scenario he shared involves CSA, which he wants to perform with his daughter. I'm going to attempt to read these names, but just know that I am going to butcher them. I had some cosplay ideas to ship Suyu Asui with her in my Zawa cosplay, as well as doing Zant with her as Midna, portraying her as a slave seen in one of the slides. Kelly showed me the game Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess, and I can't help imagine Midna being a victim of SA by Zan. He usurped her throne, transformed her, then tried to kill her. Anyway, I hope you look forward to my cosplays with my daughter. So essentially, he wanted to cosplay with his daughter. She be a sex slave and a victim of sexual abuse. Yep. But there is the possibility that the post wasn't made by the father. In fact, it's speculated that Kelly herself made the post, with one user saying, I'm pretty sure it's her pretending to be her dad purely because of how much he mentions his daughter. Every post mentions her and is about her, whereas an actual boomer dad new to Insta probably wouldn't even caption his pics. Which is an interesting point. I'm curious, what do you think? Do you think a boomer dad like him could caption that Instagram post? Do you think they might have collaborated on it? Maybe your opinion will change throughout this video. Either way, you can tell something is off here. And you wouldn't be wrong since Kelly has admitted to openly having a sexual attraction to her father.
One more time. I'm gonna hyperventilate right now. What did you just say? I'm sexual love for my dad.
She's also stated multiple times that her dad has taken her nude photos. One user would say, Kelly, why is your whole boob out? I wanted backlash on Twitter to see if I can handle it. Who took these photos in the first place? My dad. And yes, those photos did happen and she did post them, and the photos themselves are creepy. She not only posted them on Twitter, but she posted them on Instagram as well, where she would say lewd from Little Witch Academia. Also, she's 16. I consider that a young adult. She would go on to make another Instagram post sharing a series of photos where she was cosplaying as a different character named Alphonse from Full Metal Alchemist, which if you don't know, that character is age 14 in the show and the oldest he gets towards the end is 16. Now I can understand cosplaying as anime characters that are underage, but making inappropriate content out of them, that's weird. The captions to this one would read, forgot to post these last night. I'm not looting Al because to be outrageous. I'm looting him because I really love the character. Earlier in 2024, a YouTuber named Femyaz conducted hour-long interviews with Kelly, confronting her about her many controversies. When the interviewer asked about her statements regarding her inappropriate relationships with her father, Kelly claimed she didn't mean it and said it only to get a reaction.
One of the claims that's been made against you, has to do with incestuous tendencies.
Oh, yes, I know what you're talking about. I said that I had sexual feelings for my dad. At first, I was kind of joking when I believe it was I Want Some More who was interviewing me in the Instagram live stream. And then I got all giddy because I saw her reaction. And then I repeated it and I said, I have sexual love for my dad with a big smile on my face. And well, I didn't actually mean it, and I know I'm keeping it vague when I say that, and I know you don't want me to be vague, but I was just saying that to get a reaction out of I Want Some More, whatever her name actually is.
So you just wanted to get a reaction that, like,
Yeah.
I find it very strange that, like, oh yeah, I cosplayed as lewd versions of 11-year-old characters and 8-year-old characters for a reaction. Oh yeah, no, I was just saying that I had sexual feelings for my own father for a reaction. I feel like once there starts to be like a pattern, right? Like you could see why like any reasonable person would start to, I don't know, put into question your character, right?
I can see that, but I think in my opinion, it was just all coincidence.
Oh, it was just like a coincidence?
Well, yeah.
It's just all one big coincidence, and none of these things have anything to do with each other?
No.
And it just magically panned out that way?
Yes, that's exactly what I'm saying.
Okay. And is it true that you had your father take nude images of you?
Again, I just said that for a reaction. What actually happened is that at the time, I asked my dad, can you take pictures of me while I'm like this? And, okay, so I couldn't get him to do it at all.
Okay, so he technically didn't do it, but you wanted him to do it and you asked him to do it, but he technically didn't do it? Is that what I'm hearing?
Yes.
So if he was willing to do it, it would have happened then, right? He was the only party that didn't consent, but you wanted it to happen.
Yes, exactly.
So let me get this straight. You wanted your own father to take photos of you, and you also said that you had sexual feelings for your father, but you were actually joking about having sexual feelings for your father to own the trolls or something, but also you actually did want him to take photos of you. Am I getting that correct?
Okay, well, it wasn't about it wasn't an incestuous reason. I just wanted some help with the camera, and I didn't bother to buy a ring light, which is what I'm using now to hold my camera up. I could have used a ring light to take the photos, but it didn't occur to me until I turned 25 and I got a ring light for my birthday, and I've been using ring lights ever since.
So hold on, it didn't occur to you to use a ring light, but it occurred to you to have your dad take your nudes. Am I getting
Yes.
that right?
Yes.
So she claims that she was just saying that her dad took those photos to get a reaction, but that doesn't add up. This wasn't just a one-time statement. She has said on multiple occasions that her dad takes her photos. Most of her photos, aside from the inappropriate ones, were taken by her dad. This is something that she even mentions in her captions. Me and my dad had a photo shoot today at the beach as a swimsuit Ochako. This is the most beautiful picture my dad took of me. Today, I did a photo shoot with my dad as Spinell from Steven Universe movie. And it's not just one statement about her relationship with her father. There are other corroborating posts and receipts that hint at something odd. For instance, her romantic themed stories about her father. And what's even more shocking is that she made a post claiming that her dad SA'd her. My dad's been molesting me since I was 6. Ever since, I've been so confused about our dynamic, and when I was 7, I started pretending he was my prince/lover. I'm glad I have Rachel to talk to when I feel abused or upset. And Rachel's her best friend, which we'll talk about more later. Me and my dad had a fight because I didn't want to sexually play with him. He got so mad that I got upset and said I'm finding a different house to stay at. I walked to Rachel's apartment and told her what happened. At times when I feel like a victim of SA, I have Rachel. And as much as she denies having inappropriate feelings towards her father, claiming it was just for a reaction, the evidence suggests otherwise. Allegedly wanting your father to take pictures of you and fantasizing about acting out graphic cosplays with him points to something deeply disturbing beneath the surface. Maybe the things that she said in her tweet is why she felt so comfortable coming out saying she was attracted to her father and that he took her photos. She was desensitized to it all. At one point, she wanted to cosplay as an anime character that was an SA victim. What made you pick Mika? If it's cool for me to ask, she's one of my favorite characters, so I was just wondering. Kelly would say there's something really charming about Mika. Not to sound immoral, but she's so vulnerable and I know she's a SA victim. I think she's so cute when she says, "So you'll forgive me, right?" And I think I'd look cute as her. This character has a backstory filled with trauma and abuse. I could be reading too much into it, but it's concerning that she would choose this character specifically. It seems that many of the characters that she wants to cosplay as with her father involve some form of abuse or a disturbing dynamic. You might be wondering, where's the mother in all of this? I said that she lives with her parents. Well, she posts a lot of content with her father, but her mother is almost entirely absent from many of these posts. In fact, I could only find a couple rare occasions where she posted her mother. In one post, she would say, "Mom, you're not perfect, you're impatient, you barely have time for me, you freak out over messes and complain, and you embarrassed me on live stream using a racial slur to someone who was black. However, it doesn't affect me because I love you anyway." It would seem as if she has a strained relationship with her mother. Maybe it's a bit more than strained because Kelly isn't shy about openly expressing her animosity towards her mother. Over the years, she has posted numerous cruel and outright hateful posts about her mom. Here's Kelly explaining to you why her mom can't do cosplay with her.
So a lot of people ask me sometimes, why doesn't your mom ever cosplay with you if your dad cosplays with you? And I'm gonna sound very mean, but I'm also gonna compare it to like how in Hollywood weight matters. I'm not saying my mom's fat, I'm just saying if she was like skinnier, and she's losing weight by the way. And yesterday I gave my mom a goal. If you get to 180 pounds, maybe you can cosplay Queen Eleanor with me as Merida, and you'll look more healthy. So I'm not asking my mom to be super skinny, I just want her to look healthy.
On Mother's Day, she would upload this picture saying it's her mom. And then in another tweet, she would say that Ursula from The Little Mermaid is butt ugly, just like my mom. She would post a video on her YouTube channel called Cosplays with My Mom, where she talks about the cosplay she wants to do with her mother.
Cosplays I want to do with my mom are Ursula and Sophie from Howl's Moving Castle. So I was thinking when I'm skinny enough, I'll do Ariel, and my mom would be Ursula. It would be really fun painting her purple, because when I went to conventions that did Steven Universe characters, my mom was always helping me paint, and now it will be my turn helping her paint herself purple. Or we could do a realistic version of Ursula, with my mom. And the second cosplay I was doing with my mom, I was thinking of,
is that, so I was watching Howl's Moving Castle last night with my dad, and I thought, what if me and my mom did old Sophie and young Sophie? I mean, I've always wanted to do a cosplay as Sophie.
She would also say Mother's Day is bullcrap. I always give my mom the worst Mother's Day because she doesn't deserve me. Kiss my butt in hell. And on some occasions, she would come across as very jealous that her mom was spending time with her dad. She would post saying, I only had an hour with my dad on Father's Day because my mom's such a selfish bee. She keeps taking him out places when yesterday it should have been about me and him. This one's unhinged. I love you more than my C word mom dad. And Kelly's mom seems to have even fat shamed Kelly. Kelly would make a post saying, my mom always makes fun of my weight. I can't make this up. My mom's been calling me fat and made me feel bad about myself ever since I gained 50 pounds. She doesn't deserve Mother's Day. And I'm really curious who started this first. Was it Kelly's mom that was fat shaming her, or was it Kelly that was fat shaming her mom? But it appears that the relationship wasn't always strained. Kelly would make this post about her mom gifting her a wig for her cosplay. Sorry, the background sucks, but I will make a background for the Kingdom Hearts picture I'm posting. Take more pictures once I can get a photo shoot set up. And the wig was a birthday present from my mom. So maybe at one point they actually liked each other, but her behavior goes far beyond mocking her mother's body and weight. In some of Kelly's posts, she appears deeply insecure about her own appearance, and this insecurity could explain the hostility that she has towards her mother. People with body image issues can sometimes project those feelings towards others, and she has repeatedly expressed self-contempt, publicly calling herself fat and ugly, where she says, looks matter, I never wear makeup unless I cosplay because my body looks like fat crap, so I'm punishing myself for being ugly. Why punish yourself when you can make yourself feel good by wearing makeup and dressing well if that's what helps you make you feel good? Because I'm too fat for that. There's this girl in my class, I want to say to her, you're too fat, only skinny girls can wear makeup. Can someone please agree with me when I say I'm fat? I'm really fat. I was so fat as Lord Dominator. Why did people give a crap about me at Katsucon? I never treat myself to pretty clothes anymore because I weigh 170 and I don't deserve to look pretty, neither do fat girls. I'm so upset with my weight that I could write I'm fat all over my body. And trigger warning on this next one, I want to off myself not just for being fat, but so I can fix my mistakes. She's also overly edited herself to look snatched. And an Instagram account that has receipts of Kelly. Anyone remember when Kelly said she stopped looting minors? That was a nice 5 minutes. Kelly would comment saying, can you not make stuff up about me? That's an old picture now, and I haven't done CP since. And Kelly's pattern of hateful behavior extends beyond her family. In one post on Instagram, she would say, I thought I was done posting My Hero Academia pictures, but this is the last one. I forgot about this cosplay by Rachel as Deku and stopped complaining about the Photoshop. I think it looks nice. I don't know what to tell you, except that if you're going to comment about it, then F off. Try doing a better job this time. Years later, Kelly would publicly end her relationship with Rachel, resorting to openly abuse, degrading and inhumane responses. She would say Rachel was just too autistic to be friends with. I wanted to show her movies like The Room / Disaster Artist / Chicago / Harry Met Sally and Room, all my favorite movies, and she would always say no adult movies. Because she's too immature for the real movies instead of the baby movies and shows I see her watch. LMAO, because she is a baby. Also, this R-word B never even got blood work, I guess, because when I was talking to her about it last time when we hung out, she was like covering her ears going, no, 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 stop talking. Like what? How old does she think she is? She gets upset when I trash bad movies. She likes like The Last Airbender because her special ed teacher was in it, LOL. Someone tell this R-word that anyone who was in that movie regretted being in it. I've seen them come out online about it. And Rachel liking a bad movie because someone important to her was in it, LOL. That's like me saying Aladdin 2019 is a great movie because my dad was an extra, LMAO. And then she would make a post saying, I can't believe I put up with and used to be friends with this autistic R-word. She would openly hate people on the neurodivergent spectrum and doesn't make any effort to hide it, even though she's neurodivergent herself. She would say, unfortunate that my boyfriend invited a mental R-word to his party, LOL. There's so much noise. It's laughable that a mentally R-word teenager is giving me anxiety. Autistics are so R-word. I ran into this autistic weirdo I made fun of in high school. Was asked by my boyfriend to sit with us, and will this loser shut the F up? She would often come across with a entitled attitude, self-absorbed, and saying all kinds of things about people without a care in the world. She would say, just found my friend's mom on Facebook so I can yell at her for constication. I'm aware this risks losing a friend if her mom gets angry because my friend's still in high school, but nothing can stop me when I'm pissed. My mom will never confiscate my crap or treat me that way. Another controversy that is tied to her name is her extreme racism on social media. In her tweets and posts, she has openly used racial slurs and made offensive, demeaning remarks about entire communities, showing a blatant disregard for everything, where she said, "Black people are very violent to their kids. They like to watch reality TV and Tyler Perry. I tried to hide being racist, but now I'm pissed. I don't hate black people because their skin color is different. I hate them because they're so violent." In a message, this person would message them and say, "Homegirl, what are you doing?" He said, "You said my makeup on my Raven video was half and I know exactly what the F you're doing. Insulting me just to make your black butt feel better, and I'm getting back at you. Go F someone else, you ugly crap." And then she would go on to call her the N-word. She's even posted many racist tweets about Mexicans, with one saying, "I had to learn about Mexico at homeschooling. I'm gonna hit my head so effing hard until I lose my memory. I hate Mexicans, I'd rather die. I'd rather be effing dead than learn about Mexicans over my effing dead body. Wait, what? Why? Because I hate Mexicans and their ugly F words. They're not even people. Mexicans are R words. Blacks are violent. I'm surprised that Trump hasn't said anything about Asians yet. Any more groups you like to insult? Why do the damn Mexicans always favorite my pictures on worldcosplay.net? Why can't it be German people? I hate Mexicans." She's even passed racist remarks towards her own friend, where she said, "The reason I don't care if my friend Gina is Hispanic is because she looks white and can fit in easily. But I do think she could be ashamed of what nationality she is. If I was to say a white Mexican and found that out, I would flip out." And of course, Gina was smart enough to not be friends with this person, where Gina would say, "I sadly was her friend IRL, and she is honestly disgusting." On the other hand, she does call out racism, but only when it's directed at British people. The creators of Ben 10 reboot are racist about JK Rowling. "You effing racist." That sounded nothing like a British accent. And Kelly would conveniently blame her mother for her racism. "My mom said some bad things about Asians. I'm starting to listen to it, and my mom is turning me into a racist." Well, your mom didn't force you to type out those racist comments. You can't blame everything on your mom. One of the biggest marks on Kelly's reputation is cosplaying as minor characters. She's not just cosplayed as lewd teenage characters like the ones we discussed earlier, but some of these characters were as young as 11 or 8 years old. Where on Reddit, she would post lewd photos of Shiro, which is a 11-year-old character from the anime No Game, No Life. When called out for lewding an 11-year-old character, she doubled down, threatening to lewd an even younger character, an 8-year-old. She would say, "I don't understand what's wrong about lewding Shiro. She's old enough to start middle school, and she's lewded in the anime. It could be worse. I could be lewding Kana from Dragon Maid, who's younger." And I'll be honest, I've seen some animes that have made me feel uncomfortable for how they treat the younger people in the show. And that doesn't make it right just because they're making a show off of it that's popular. And it's funny that when you look into the world of P-words, you notice that there is a lot out there and there's a market for them. She even mentions wanting to lewd this 15-year-old character named Ochako from My Hero Academia, which, by the way, I love My Hero Academia, but that doesn't mean I want to go out there and lewd some of these characters. She says, "I'm lewding Ochako on a hotel bed, and the same goes for other teen anime girls. I'm not sorry. Teenagers are not innocent. As a teenager at the time, I hated being with the kids in my school because they would constantly trigger me and they were all C-words. I hated teenagers, and to this day, even when I myself was a teenager." But later on, she would change her plan and decided to do an adult version because of the backlash. "So people have been begging me not to lewd Ochako, so I'll be lewding a adult version of her. I just ordered the wig to do my first lewd project without any backlash. And if people say that lewding adult Ochako is still wrong, then eat crap. I still don't know what to tell you." But even then, she still didn't see sexualizing underage characters as a problem. She said, "How is sexual characters who are underage a bad thing if they don't exist? Because they're still children. I wouldn't care if someone sexualized me if I was still in high school. You can lewd." And it's interesting the use of her language, because if you remember in this post, she said that that's an old picture now and I haven't done CP since. So it's clear that she sees this as CP, but doesn't think it's bad. And in that interview she had, she said she was just minors in order to get a reaction. This way it would provoke backlash and she would stay relevant. Basically just using controversy as a strategy to get attention.
I was so immature at the time. I mean, obviously. And not only that, I believed back in 2018 that the only way to stay relevant online was to be in controversies and gain negative attention. And then as I got more mature, got more wiser, and masked my autism better, I
don't think that autism makes you sexually harass minors.
No,
right?
no, I wasn't saying that.
I don't think that you would be sexting minors to create controversy for attention.
No,
right?
no, I wasn't trying to use my autism as an
Oh, okay.
excuse.
All right. I'm just making
Yeah.
sure, you know.
Okay, yeah. So, I'm just pointing out that I was very immature at the time, and I also believed that in order to stay relevant online, I would have to keep getting backlash and making controversies, which I'm really doing my best to give up.
So did you send, hold on, are you saying that you sent notes to minors in order to start controversy?
Well, no, I mean when I was sexually fictional characters who were underage. That's what I'm talking about.
Now, mind you, she was 22 at the time, but apparently that's too immature to know better than to sexualize minors.
For controversy?
Well,
that
that's
seems
what I
like
thought
that
at
seems
the
like
time.
a very that seems like a very strange, usually people don't do that to stir controversy.
Okay, but I was very immature at the time, and I don't believe in that anymore.
How old were you at the time? You were like 22?
Yeah, I was 22. I'm 27 now.
Okay.
The list of her controversies is long, as she seems to admire people in similar controversies. For instance, she considers Momocon her idol and has even publicly defended her. Why is it wrong to like Momocon? I don't care if she did bad things. It doesn't bother me like it does everyone else. Also, she apologized. She hasn't groped people since. And for those of you that are unfamiliar, this is Maria Malad, also known as Momocon, controversial cosplayer. She's been criticized for cosplaying highly sexual versions of minor characters and has faced public accusations of harassment and alleged sexual misconduct with the cosplay community. Kelly would say, I gotta roast a bee real quick for name calling. Learn the difference between looting and a effing P-word. And she fits both labels because she's admitted publicly to being attracted to her brother's 14-year-old friend when she was 22 years old.
Is it true you liked your brother's 14-year-old friend?
Yeah. Well, he's 16 now, but I used to have a crush on him because
16 is still under the age in the United States, and you're 22.
I know. Well, he probably doesn't think of me as a girlfriend, but ever since he was 9, this is gonna sound really creepy. I felt like I loved him because he understood me. He really got me. And I could talk to him about anything. And that's why I was like, I'm gonna marry him someday.
Do you realize that is pedophilia?
Yeah,
like,
I know.
That's pedophilia.
I know this sounds.
She seems to show no shame and doesn't realize how disturbing this is. In fact, she has blatantly admitted that what she does qualifies as a P-word. In some tweets, she would say, I'm trying to say that I feel romantically in love with my 12-year-old friend, Sam. It would probably sound disgusting if I said I wanted sex. Even if me and my friend are only 6 years apart, I'm starting to want romance with him. I know better to not have sex with him because I know that's probably illegal, but that's how I feel right now, wanting sex. It seems like the only thing holding her back is the law. Besides that, her morals are completely aligned with endorsing this. Would it sound disgusting if I said I'm feeling romance for this 12-year-old friend of mine that I want, not that I would have sex? But when she's called out for her disgusting behavior, she acts like she's being bullied. Calling me a P-word isn't calling me out, it's just straight up bullying. Allegedly, she's also sent inappropriate pictures to a minor where she's completely exposed. In some DM, she would say, I can show you when I get home. Thank you so much. You're a wonderful cosplayer, by the way. She would send a picture very pretty. Then they would ask, do you have any pics of your chest? To which she sent a photo of her chest. Later, she would say that minors tricked her into sending these photos. She would say, they tricked me into sending them pictures and used it against me, the minor. How did they trick you into doing that? They promised me money and they didn't tell me their age. The bare minimum as an adult is to verify the age before you do anything like that. I would say as an adult, that was her job to do. What's especially telling is whenever she's questioned directly about any of this, she denies it.
When was the last time you had sexual interactions with a minor?
Oh, I never have ever.
Really? Because like, and I can pull up the clip if you'd like. You actually admitted to it. If you want, I can play the clip and screen share it. Yeah. So let's watch this epic video clip together. All right.
Fuck you, piece of shit. Those, I just explained to you, Mom, I just explained to you that, don't put words in my mouth. Those minors I did not do it for money. They said they would give me money, and they wanted me to take naked pictures for them. So don't put words in my mouth, you piece of fucking shit. Fuck you.
Later, when the question was repeated, this was her answer.
When was the last time you had sexual interactions with a minor? Because we both know that you did, right? Like if you're sending explicit photos.
Yes, I was about to answer that before you no offense, shoved down my throat, respect pronouns, you must use he, him. But anyway, okay, so Neon Caffeine was right when she pointed out that I should have looked at these people's bios and their ages in their Instagram bios, that they were minors. So I didn't even bother to look. I just blindly believed them when they said to me, hey, if you get naked for me, I will pay you money. And that is the truth. You can take it or leave it. But I was, so you know that I was a retard. I mean, I was the Chris Chan of cosplay for years, which I'm actually very embarrassed about. But I hope you can observe now that my mannerisms are different.
You're completely different now, yeah. You can see why someone would, take
100%.
issue with you. Yeah. Like, it's not just one thing that people take issue with, right?
Yeah, I completely
admitting to having this
understand.
huge crush on a 14-year-old when you were 20. It's you minors, but then using the excuse of, well, I didn't look at the age that was written in like the first line of their bio. It's like usually I look at somebody's bio by the time I have any sexual interest in them. So like if they're a minor, right, I immediately lose sexual interest, right? Because I think that minors are actually very unappealing, right? But that's just my personal opinion.
I wasn't sending nudes to them because I was sexually attracted to them. It was the money they promised me I was more focused on.
So you sent nudes asexually to minors because they apparently offered you money?
Yes, that's exactly what I'm saying.
Okay.
It was the money I was interested in the most.
The interviewer then posed a hypothetical question, asking what age gap she personally believed acceptable, and her response is interesting.
So, do you think that it's okay for a 13-year-old girl in Japan to marry a 34-year-old man? Do you think that's okay?
No,
okay, that's
weird.
Good news. That's good news. Okay. What about like a I don't know, like a 20, how do you feel about like a 20-year-old and a 14-year-old?
Pretty bad.
Pretty bad? Because I do remember there's like a video clip of you saying that when you were 20, you had like this huge crush on someone that was 14, right?
Oh, yes, I know what you're talking about. His name is Sam. He's more of my brother's friend. And remember when I said I was really immature at the time? Well, I was trying to do this analogy where, okay, so when I can't remember how young I was, but I was maybe in my late teens, and my mom showed me this movie called The Legend of the Fall. And there's this Native American girl who starts out as a young girl,
And I think Brad Pitt's character ends up marrying her as she gets older and by the time she's an adult. So I was using that as an analogy because I'm like not thinking about how their takeaway would be if I said that. And I was just thinking to myself, well, what if by the time Sam, that's his name, would get older and become an adult? What if we were to get married? Which is not the case, by the way, because it turns out he's gay. He's not sexually attracted to me, and it doesn't matter now because I actually have a boyfriend who lives in Florida.
And then Kelly is asked about lolicon, and her response says everything.
What are your thoughts on lolicon?
Oh, I don't believe I've heard of that.
It's basically like it's basically porn depicting underage characters.
I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh. Well, okay, you're not going to like the answer, but I'm just speaking from the context of Japanese culture. So, you know that in Japan, they view 13-year-olds as adults. And I know as Americans, we're like, okay, that's really fucked up that they think 13-year-olds it's okay for them to have sex. But I think we think that way because, I mean, we view minors in a different way compared to how Japanese people view minors.
Which view do you think is correct? Which view do you think is correct? Because they are mutually exclusive, right?
Okay. Yeah, well, I don't really want to question the Japanese culture at all.
From what I've seen, this is not true. Japan doesn't view 13-year-olds as adults. And in fact, in 2023, consent was raised from 13 to 16, which should still be higher, and it's weird it took them this long to do that. Japan does not view 13-year-olds as adults. Anyone under the age of 20 is classified as a juvenile and is subject to special legal procedures. Women cannot marry until they are 16, men cannot until they are 18, which again is weird. One thing that's hard to ignore is how inconsistent and contradictory her statements are. There's no clear line of thought. She says one thing and does another, and then later walks it back or changes the story completely. The clearest example is her hostility towards trans people while at the same time identifying herself as part of the same community. She's always positioned herself as a conservative cosplayer, and creators on YouTube have even covered her as anti-woke. She's also posted memes mocking trans people, and then you see posts like this by her where she comes out as gender fluid.
Hello, I think I'm just gonna get straight to the point. This is a coming out video, and I decided that not only a few years ago I found out I was bisexual, but now I realize I also feel like I identify as also a male. I feel like I identify as both a female and a male. And I don't know if this is relevant or not, but I have dreams where I really want to cross-dress, and I find clothes that look like male clothes. And I tuck my hair into a baseball cap because I don't want to cut it again. But when I wake up, I'm like, why would I do that? I'm supposed to be a girl. I'm supposed to dress nice, like how I'm dressing now. I'm supposed to wear nice clothes. I'm supposed to have fairly long hair. So I decided from now on, I will identify as gender fluid. Do I identify as a woman? 100%. Do I identify as a male? Yes. But that doesn't mean I'm going to cut my hair and start cross-dressing.
She's even uploaded videos where in the thumbnail she has Trans Man Reacts, as well in the title Trans Man Reacts. And despite being part of the LGBTQ community, she doesn't agree with their views. She would post this on her story saying, "Hi, I'm fluid and I use any pronouns." Someone would ask, which pronouns would you prefer? She, her, but when I'm in a male cosplay, I don't mind being misgendered. All right. I'm a cisgender bisexual girl, but I don't mind it at all if someone calls me an opposite gender. It doesn't bother me like most people. She would make a post of her grandma saying that her grandma was gay and she didn't approve of it. I stopped having relationships from my grandma, my mom's mom, because we don't get along. I want nothing to do with that bee. My grandma, my mom's mom, is gay, but I never saw her do anything gay in front of me. Smart of her. I'll give her that. I don't have a ride home because my grandma is a effing bee and needs to off herself. I hate my grandma and she told me today I act like a 5-year-old. I just wanted to shoot her with a gun so she can stop making me feel like I have a mental retardation. As of now, Kelly seems to be focusing on music, where in her YouTube description it says now an independent filmmaker starting with music videos, where she seems to be uploading somewhat consistently, where she cosplays as characters.
Angel of darkness, angel of darkness.
Be sure to check her out on SoundCloud and Apple Music. So maybe she was doing all this just to get attention to her music. So maybe, hopefully, possibly, she's stopped her disgusting ways. Kelly has been trying to build her social media presence for over a decade, but despite all her controversies and disturbing actions, which she claims were to stay relevant, she hasn't achieved much success. She pretends to be a changed person now, yet hasn't taken real responsibility for her past behavior or ever apologized for any of the hateful things she said. Essentially, she blames everything on her autism, where she says, I think being an impulsive person has to do with having autism and not being able to control myself when I'm upset. I was reading tweets about myself calling me fat phobic, and I'll admit, you're not very wrong. Sometimes I talk my mind before thinking of what I say, and I think it has to do with having autism and not having a filter. My friend Rachel is the same way because of her autism. And I would say autism does play a part in this, but still that is no excuse. But I'm curious what your thoughts are on this, so please in the comments down below let me know what you think about this situation. Also, if you have any suggestions for any topics you want me to cover, let me know in the comments as well. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and also I think there's some kind of hype thing. If you see some kind of hype button, make sure you push that too. I don't know exactly what it is, but it's supposed to help this video. And also I have a charity attached to this video if you want to donate to it. They are called Autistic Self-Advocacy Network, and I specifically chose this one because they help people with disabilities live in the community and not just be thrown in some institution. But with all that said, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.